Hello, today we will explain Star Wars one-shot from Marvel Comics brings back Legends characters this May. After 33 years, the original Star Wars comic series is getting a brand new issue since 1986, with Marvel Comics releasing the Star Wars number 108 one-shot later this year in May, featuring the return of classic Marvel Star Wars characters like Jax Jackson, Domina Tag and Valance the Hunter. A long time ago on a spinner rack far away, Star Wars comics were a lot different than they are now. With wild and intricately plotted storylines, Marvel's historic original run introduced an array of unique heroes and villains to play alongside George Lucas' incredibly popular science fantasy characters. In celebration of Marvel's 80th anniversary, this Legends-era sequel to legendary comic book writer Archie Goodwin's Crimson Forever reunites Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2 with Jax Jackson, Amaza Fox Train, Domina Tag, and Valance the Hunter in a galaxy-threatening, nostalgic roller coaster. Strap yourselves in. In addition to the one-shot comic being an exciting opportunity for fans to see a new story set within the Star Wars Legends universe, from the original Marvel Star Wars series that originally concluded back in 1986 with issue number 107, writer Rosenberg revealed how excited he was to work with these compelling characters that he grew up with. Growing up, my older brother read Fantastic Four and X-Men and I would steal his copies when he went out, but the original Marvel Star Wars comics were the first comics I ever collected myself. Those books were so important to me in developing my love of comics. I'd go to the comic shop every week and dig around in the back issues in hopes of adding another missing issue to my collection. When it all would get to be too much, my mom would take me to a local Comic Con to find other issues for me as a way of shutting me up. I'm proud to say that I have the complete run in singles issues still. It's hard to explain now what the original series meant to me as a kid. We didn't have all these amazing video games, and novels, and prequels, and sequels, and spin-offs. There were a few novels, the Ewok movies, and these comics. And these comics gave me the impossible, the chance to spend more time with my favorite characters. I couldn't believe I could walk into a store and give them a few bucks and walk out with even more adventures of Leia, Luke, Chewie, Han, R2, and 3PO. It felt magical to me then, and honestly, those comics still feel that way to me today. Matthew Rosenberg to comicbook.com. Despite creating a story within the Legends universe being an exciting opportunity to any writer, crafting a story within that universe wasn't without its challenges. Being faithful to the amazing storytelling in the original run, but still making a comic for a modern audience, was the biggest challenge on this project. So many true comic legends worked on those books: Archie Goodwin, Roy Thomas, Walt Simonson, Howard Chaykin, Al Williamson, David Michelinie, Klaus Jensen, Joe Duffy, and so many more. It's pretty overwhelming to think about. Actually, what they made was the product of a very different time in comics, and it's something modern audiences aren't really accustomed to. So while it would be fun, if a little humbling, to try and just impersonate them, we wanted to do something a bit different, something that would appeal to classic and modern fans alike. When I came on board, I talked with my editors Mark Panicha and Tom Gronin about trying to distill what we think would translate well and what we absolutely needed. We all agreed that the epic scale, the whirlwind pacing, the larger-than-life characters, the easy-to-jump-into story, and the over-the-top gorgeous art were all elements that our book needed if it was going to carry the torch of the original series. We actually called Walt Simonson. It was amazingly fun just to pick his brain about working on the classic series and things he'd like to see going forward. It was about as nervous as I've ever been going into a phone call, but Walt was so kind and generous with his time. It was definitely that call that really drove home the weight of the legacy we are carrying on this book. Matthew Rosenberg. Star Wars number 108 might only be a one-shot set in the Legends timeline, but Rosenberg has expressed other ideas he'd like to explore in future stories set within the galaxy far away. Such as a Valance the Hunter team-up with Boba Fett, or even Face Off. Or a Amaza Fox Train and Lando book. Rosenberg even joked about writing a Jax Jackson and Jar Jar book. Could you imagine that team-up? The question is, will this just be a one-off, or will Lucasfilm start to bring back other stories of the old expanded universe? Marvel's Star Wars number 108 will be available later this year, on May 29th. Please like video and subscribe this channel Adar Star Wars Explaining.